Okay, guys, so tonight we're going to talk about, or today, we're going to talk about lesson 8-7, solving one-step equations. And here's where you're really going to see the connection, one-step equations. See, I said it, one-step equations. It is one-step inequalities. And here's where you're going to see how inequalities and equations look so similar. So today's date is going to be 3/12/19. So first and foremost, to solve inequalities, follow the rules for solving equations. So to solve inequalities, follow the rules for solving equations. Okay, so what are those rules? Okay, so I'm going to be a little bit loud, and I'm going to yell at you for a little bit, okay? Do inverse operations to both sides of the inequality. That's funny looking at. Let's try that one again, shall we? So do inverse operations to both sides of the inequality with the number that is on the same side as the variable. So the variable, just like with equations, leads the process. We find the variable, and we do the inverse of the operation with the number that's on the same side as the variable. Okay? So here's the one thing that I've seen over and over and over again in homework, which drives me crazy. Do not guess. I'm tired of you guys thinking that because the problem is so simple that you should be able to guess the mystery answer because it comes so quickly to you. But again, we're learning a process, a simple process now that we can apply to even more complicated problems. So we're going to do 4 problems throughout this kind of series, and we'll be doing a little bit of work for each one. So let's start with x plus 2 is greater than 5. And then let's have x minus 3 is less than or equal to 7. And then let's do 2x is greater than or equal to 10. And last but not least, let's do x divided by 7 is less than 12. Okay? All right. So, job 1. Oops. Locate the variable. Okay? The reason why we have to locate that variable is we have to figure out what's going on with that variable. Okay, so locate the variable, and then the next step is to identify the operation happening to that variable and the number that operation is working with. That's always so much more easy if we look at the examples. And to all you English teachers out there, I apologize. So, we look at this problem, and we say, what's happening to the x? So we say, oh, we're adding 2, okay? All right, what's happening to the x in the second problem? Oh, we're subtracting 3. What's happening to the x in the next problem? Oh, we're multiplying by 2. What's happening to the x in the final problem? Oh, we're dividing by 7. Okay, so once we can recognize what's happening, now we can employ the idea of inverse operations. So we're going to use inverse operations with that number on both sides in order to solve. Okay, so we're going to take x plus 2 is greater than 5, and the inverse of adding 2 is going to be subtracting 2. So we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. Okay, on x minus 3 is less than or equal to 7. The inverse of subtracting 3 would be adding 3 to both sides. On 2x is greater than or equal to 10, the inverse of multiplying by 2 would be dividing by 2. Now, you guys are fighting me on this one too. We show division now with a fraction bar, so it's going to be, instead of doing the old-fashioned division symbol, we're going to be writing it this way. Much cleaner, much more appropriate for your age. And then we have x divided by 7 is less than 12, and we said the inverse of that would be multiplying by 7. And remember what we talked about? We have to show that multiplication up high so that we can cancel out the 7 divided by 7 is 1. Okay? Now, we're going to solve those, and we're going to write the answer always in this form. Variable, inequality symbol, and number. And remember, we had talked about the reason why we want to put that variable left, because then the inequality is actually pointing in the direction you're supposed to color. So if it ends up being 3 is less than 2, or 3 is less than x, then we need to rewrite it so it's x is greater than 2. Did I say 2 or 3? I can't remember. Silly me. All right, so let's see what we ended up with. So 2 take away 2 is 0. 5 take away 2 is 3. And let's see, 3 take away 3 is 0. So we get x is less than 7 plus 3 is 10. And then we have 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times x is greater than or equal to 10 divided by 2 is 5. And then see, 7 divided by 7 is 1. 1 times x is x. And 7 times 12 is 84. But because it's inequality and there's an infinite number of answers, we need to go one step further, and that's what we do last. Now graph the solution on a number line. On a number line. So remember I talked about if I have a whole number answer, I'm only going to put 3 numbers on my number line. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to create all my little graphs. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. What number goes in the middle? The answer. So here would be a 3. And in the second one, it would be a 10. And the third one, it would be a 5. And the fourth one, it would be an 84. Now, the only other things I need to do is to go ahead and put 1 number in front of each of those and 1 number behind. So we're going to have 2, 4 for the first one. We're going to have 9, 11 for the second one. We're going to have 4, 6 for the third one. And we're going to have 83 and 85 for the last one. Now this is when the inequality gets involved, and we're going to interpret what that's going to tell us to do. So for the first one, we had an inequality that was greater. That means I'm going to have an open circle at the 3 because 3 is not a solution, and then I color to the right for greater than. The next one had an inequality symbol of less than or equal to. So that says I'm going to have a closed circle at 10 because 10 is a solution, and I color to the left for less than. The next one had a solution, inequality, that was greater than or equal to. So at 5, it's going to get closed in because 5 is a solution, and then I color to the right for greater than. And last but not least, we had less than. Less than says 84 is not a solution, so it's an open circle, and I color to the left for less than. Okay? So we're going to do a couple of examples. Now those examples are going to include some fractions and some decimals just to get practice with that. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to the next screen. Take your time, pause it as you need to. All right. So our directions are going to ask us to solve and then graph the solution. When we're solving, the only appropriate way to solve is using inverse operations. No guessing. Got to get beyond the whole guessing business. You have too many skills right now that you can utilize. Okay, so first one, let's do x minus 1/2 is less than or equal to 2/5. So the inverse of subtracting by 1/2 would be adding by 1/2. But I run into a little problem over here is I can't add fractions or subtract them unless my denominators match. So I'm going to create 2 new fractions. The least common denominator between 5 and 2 is going to be 10. So I multiply top and bottom by 2 of the top fraction, and that gives me 4/10. Multiply top and bottom by 5, and that gives me 5/10. So I go back to the problem. Those zero out, leaving me with x is less than or equal to 9/10. So when I graph fractions, remember we talked about that we now need 4 numbers on our number line because we need to think about what are the 2 whole numbers 9/10 is between. So it's less than 1, but it's greater than 0. Then I add number smaller than 0 and the number that's greater than 1. Now I'm going to kind of estimate where I think 9/10 would be. I'm going to label it as 9/10 so that my audience knows. Now, less than or equal to, that says I'm going to go ahead and do a closed circle at that 9/10, and I color to the left for less than. So color in that arrow cap, be really thick with your coloring. Don't make somebody try to figure out what if you colored in what direction. Okay, let's try another one. Y plus 2.3 is greater than 8.2. 2. Now this one's a little simpler because decimals don't have to have a common denominator. Nope, all you need to do with decimals is make sure you line up the decimal points when you add or subtract. So the inverse of adding 2.3 would be subtracting 2.3. So we're going to do that to both sides. And then what happens is that 2.3 take away 2.3 zeros out, leaving us with y is greater than, and now we're going to have to do a little renaming. Bring that decimal point down. 12 take away 3 is 9, and 7 take away 2 is 5. So we're going to draw our number line. 4 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now 5.9, the whole number you see is going to be the smaller integer, and then the next one would be the higher integer. So our number is going to fall between those two. Before 5 becomes a 4, and after 6 comes a 7. So again, I'm going to estimate where 5.9 is. That's why I label it, so there's no confusion. Then I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, it's going to be an open circle because it says greater than, and then color to the right for greater than. Okay? All right, let's do another one. Just 2 more. Oops, sorry, and I write 2 more, and I write 2 instead of 3. 2m is greater than or equal to 1.5. So the inverse of multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and that leaves me with m being greater than. Now off to the side, I'm going to do the division. I don't have any decimals in my divisor, so I just bring my decimal point straight up into my answer. 2 goes into 1 0 times. 2 goes into 15 7 times, which is 14, with 1 left over. Annex is 0, bring it down. 2 goes into 10 5 times evenly. So I get m is greater than or equal to 75 hundredths. So I'm going to graph it. And again, because it's a fraction or a decimal, I'm going to have 4 points. 0.75 falls between 0 and 1. Before 0 is -1. After 1 is 2. So I'm going to kind of estimate where 0.75 is. I'm going to label it. Now is when the inequality kind of takes over. Greater than or equal to says 0.75 is a solution, and I'm going to color to the right for greater than. All right, one more. We can do it. We're going to have 3/5 x is less than 12. Okay, so this is the one time it kind of takes a little bit of a change. So normally what we have with multiplying, because that's what's happening between the 3/5 and the x, is we would use division. But then that gives me dividing a fraction by a fraction and a whole number by a fraction. So we talked about the smarter way to solve this problem, which is going to eliminate a lot of extraneous steps, is if I multiply a number by its reciprocal, which is its flipped version, then what happens is they are going to multiply and give me 1. And here's how. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 1 times 1 times x is x. Now, I am going to make 12 a fraction by giving it a denominator of 1. I'm also going to look for any cross-canceling. 3 goes into itself once and into 12 4 times. Then I multiply straight across. 4 times 5 is 20 over 1, which would be 20. So this one only requires 3 numbers on the number line because it's a whole number. So we're going to put 20 in the middle, 19 in front, 21 after, and then we're going to, let's see, inequality says less than, so it's open at 20, saying 20 is not a solution, and we color to the left for less than. And there you go. Have fun with this, guys.